of owning a cafe and other heroic deeds by Beware the Tistero. Chapter 63, Monday, Part 3.
Doesn't hurt, please. You must calm down.
The second he seen the word Taurus in Nomori's message, his blood had turned to ice, his eyebrows had furrowed, and he tried desperately to keep a level head despite the fact that he was out on patrol, a small-time group of thieves, freshly hog-tied, reprimanded, and handed over to the police.
Come, oh miracle, I am very come right now.
In fact, he'd mulched one of the fantastic young medics who'd been called to treat the 7-Eleven's manager who'd been caught in the crossfire. He was fine, the shop was secure, and aside from the till and a display of favored corn snacks, the shop, too, was undamaged. I'd asked if he was all right. He'd become quite red in the face, apparently.
Really? And are you certain, truly certain of that fact, Toshi?
Then a hurried message typed back to the lovely young woman who'd informed him. He'd be sure to thank her in person later. He'd roughly shoved his cell phone into the back secret pocket of his form-fitting bodysuit and launched himself into the air, thus to the sound of rapturous applause from the people who'd assembled to watch him dress down the ne'er-do-wells he'd caught. His white boots had harmlessly rebounded off of the windows, ledges, and sills of the building, encircling him until he'd hit the heady heights above the small city scrapers in this part of the city. Then, his azure cape billowing, he began his trek above the spires, whilst his friend, so dear to him, so clearly trying to talk him down, continued to sigh through his earpiece.
Yes, definitely,
he replied, his form leaping, bounding, and sailing through the summer heat, his form a blur across the towering mirrored structures which grew around him as he approached the city's center proper. He could already see the ominous blackened mass of Tartarus rising out of the sea like a poisonous blister in the distance, its inky form a blot on an otherwise blue yet perilous sea. It was a place he was loath to visit, and a place he could not believe Shouta-kun had been ferried off to, not even as guest, not even at the request of their democratically elected leader.
So, that's why go leaping from building to building? You do know that All Might Watch is currently trending across most social media platforms, with the news networks wondering where you're going in such a hurry, right?
Are you trying to tell me that you haven't soothed their fears and told them I'm just out for a jog to stretch my legs a bit and throw my fans?
He quipped, his smile wry, and if the little poorly concealed snort the other expressed was anything to go by, then his former sidekick, now very much a hero in his own right, was as diligent, resourceful, and forward-thinking as always, wasn't he?
That is not the point, and you well know it, All Might Osama.
The other huffed into his ear, his powerful limbs not feeling any strain as he continued to bounce, flip, and wave at the tourists, stood atop some of the highest tower platforms, their cameras and phones flashing at him as he went.
Isn't it?
He returned, a little snicker leaving him before the ebony mass of sin and depravity inching ever closer. He shifted his course to the right, his mind calculating the speed he needed to hit, the trajectory he should aim for, in order to land upon the bridge without startling the guards or causing damage. Not that such things truly mattered. He'd sunk a great deal of his own money into the prison over the years, and should he startle any of the workers, well, bullets were like blunt-nosed mosquitoes to him, weren't they?
No, Toshi, it isn't.
The slightly younger man sighed. He'd given him a headache again, hadn't he? He'd have to send him some of his favorite Shingeki sour gummies to make up for this, wouldn't he?
Shouta-kun has clearly
been coerced into meeting. All for one, he ground out. I promised him, Mirai. I promised him that last Thursday would be the end of it. He saved my life. He helped to save us all. He instigated the whole thing. He reunited me with Nana's grandchild. I have a chance of redemption now, and Shouta-kun, he should be allowed his peace.
He partially growled, all mirth leaving him.
I know fundamentally that Tsuganame-san wouldn't have broken the promise we both made lightly, but if Nomori is right, if they've been there a while, then I intend to get him out of that hell pit sooner rather than later.
He grunted, the neon blue of his eyes locking upon the bridge.
I'll not allow Shigaraki to take that man or his family beyond what he already has.
Watching as the old man blinked at him before falling into a sequence of uproarious laughter, Shouta found himself not particularly surprised, just, that is adorable. disappointed. Not that he should feel anything else for the man. He could sit here and rot for all he really cared. However, he couldn't help but be annoyed to see such potential wasted. However, he couldn't stand wasting time either. This half an hour was really stretching out, wasn't it? Tell me, Shouta-kun, is your head full of rainbows and sunshine? Dancing flowers, perhaps? A utopia of simple wants and needs?
I wouldn't know, really.
He shrugged.
But it sure as hell beats whatever's going on in yours.
He countered, a smile spreading his lips despite himself, as the villain snickered, his expression wry. Touché, the other admitted, and for one brief, glimmering moment, he could see some humanity there. He could see a person. He could see that congenial gentleman who'd not raised his suspicions when he'd first entered the Noroneko not that long ago. Oh? Why the sudden expression all of the sudden, my dear? It doesn't suit you to seem so low? Shigaraki called, his head tilting. Ah, is that pity I see? No. He returned, his voice quieter.
It's sympathy,
he told him, because that's definitely what he felt.
And there is a difference,
he furthered when the other snorted.
Looking at you now where you are, I can't help but think about how you got here. What skewed your view of the world so crookedly.
He continued, his arms refolding. I'd like to meet your bleeding-hearted notions of a tragic backstory, Shouta-kun, I really would. The fiend purred, those acetylene eyes gleaming. But I'm afraid that at the end of the day, I'm just a greedy, lecherous old man who wants to unleash the unbridled potential of a quirked humanity without borders, without boundaries, without limits.
I bet you're sitting pretty at the top of it all,
he asked, his tone wry. Ah, but of course, my dear, he replied happily. It is the natural order of things. The strong shall rule over the weak, the apex predator will dominate its food chain, and everything else will fall into place, for doesn't history teach us that too? He grinned. Brick! And speaking on such things, to throw you away would be such a waste, Shouta-kun. He sighed, his tone mockingly sincere. So, tell me, what would your prize be, He pushed. Everyone has one, he furthered, his expression gleeful, manic, interested. Don't pretend that you're exempt, he hedged. You say you don't want power. Well, how about security? How about assurances? A place for you and your brood in the New World Order, Bumping out of breath. Because really? The cafe owner unfolded his arms and regarded the other seriously. His gaze narrowed and shrewd.
You're right,
he said, his tone ruthlessly neutral.
I do have a price, but unfortunately, you, as powerful as you are, won't be able to meet it.
Try me! The other grinned, his eyes glinting, his pleasure mounting.
Okay.
He breathed, his hands struggling not to ball into fists at the sheer audacity, the sheer confident, unadulterated egotism sat across from him.
I want you to bring my parents back from the dead,
he began, his tone steady.
I want you to reverse time to when I was 8 years old, the police and social services never needing to collect me from elementary school.
He continued, his eyes fierce.
I want to grow up with them. I want the same for my care center siblings, more throwaway children who no one wanted. So, have Naoki's mother look at him with love and keep him. Have Seiji's father not abandon him when his mom died in childbirth. Save the twins' parents from the criminal gang who killed them for their car.
He ground out. Unfazed, the bastard looked on, considering.
Give Dabi a blood family who love him regardless, take away his scars. Return Tomura's kin, every single one of them, and reverse the pain you've caused him. Clear Hitoshi's mother of the crimes she had to commit to look after him. Bring his father back.
He added, his words cold, his eyes momentarily flashing red.
Give Izuku a dad who'll treasure him. Give his mother a husband who loves her. Make the streets safer so I no longer have to teach people how to defend themselves.
He told him, the other smile unwavering.
Give every orphan who can't be reunited with their families a good loving home. Stomp out child poverty, bullying, Change the criminal justice system so that it treats people as people. Just for the hell of it. Ban restaurants from overcharging people and rid the world of hunger while you're at it.
He snapped, the other's expression still placid, still belittling.
Demeaning.
Do all of that, Shigaraki-san, and sure, I'll follow you. I'll be your #1 believer, in fact.
He huffed a nasty little smirk. The one he saved for bullies and other such dickheads he needed a kick in the crotch.
Highlighting his features.
See, for a bleeding-hearted little do-gooder, I can be pretty greedy and demanding too, can't I?
Shigaraki Kenji had met All Might at the door after waving the guards away, his expression resolved, his state of mind calm. However, regardless of that cheerful costume, that glorious cape, the younger man seemed very far removed from his placid, gentle giant persona as he walked through the reinforced steel door.
I'm sorry that you weren't informed in an official capacity. Get him out of there!
The other cut in, the blue so deep those neon depths crowded with concern, anxiety, fear, of his eyes flashing warningly.
He shouldn't have to subject himself to that bastard's whims. I know that!
He'd offered, and for as hollow as it sounded, he meant it.
But please, there's only 5 minutes left of the agreed time.
He tried, his tone pleading.
Shouta-kun is a wonderful man who was clearly being taken advantage of and manipulated on the slight chance that vile creature chooses to dangle some form of valuable information before your superiors. Yes?
Feeling his mouth close, because there was clearly no arguing with that, and he felt like such a heel.
The lieutenant sighed, his eyes looking away to the screens displaying the cafe owner, who was such a capable person, but as a seething blonde before him had said, this wasn't his job or responsibility. His heart sinking.
There are superiors,
he replied quietly, the heat of the other's glare dying a little. Sometimes he reflected he just wasn't paid enough to deal with this.
Try me.
And speaking of which,
what's got him so riled up?
He asked, he and the #1 pro having released their standoff to approach the monitors, the techies diligently typing away whilst the old villain's vitals spiked a touch, but not enough to warrant a machine gun turrets to activate. A pity.
Okay.
Shigaraki has just asked Aizawa-san what his price is. One of the men so dutifully typing, tracking, and monitoring the situation replied quickly, This could be incriminating, Tsuganame-san. Does this young man have a lawyer? He continued as the camera zeroed in. Logging his body moving out of instinct, he was sure, a few steps away from All Might as the bronzed hero huffed. Were those jets of steam gushing from his nostrils? The lieutenant then stepped briskly forward.
Such measures won't be necessary, He'll have full access to my team and my resources if warranted.
The 7-foot Hulk stated firmly, a flicker of power crackling across his shoulders.
What in the world were all of you thinking by spending him in there without a script to follow? He is just to meet his wants. He's a criminal, a mass murderer, a liar, a cheat, a thief, he reminded gruffly, and trapping Shouta is probably all he wanted to do, and you've gut-frapped him up for the opportunity, I want you to bring my parents back from the dead.
Stopping mid-sentence,
amidst the cafe owner's statement, his mouth slamming shut with an audible click, you could have heard a pin drop in that room as all 4 of them blinked to the monitors. The raven-haired man's gaze was sure, his tone was clipped, but on the bioscanners, it was clear that he was distressed. Shit!
I want you to reverse time to when I was 8 years old. The police and social services never needing to collect me from elementary school.
Sighing, he rubbed his hand across his eyes, his shoulders slumping as the man beside him, his frame similarly deflating, looked on with an expression growing more concerned and sympathetic by the second.
I want to grow up with them. I want the same for my care center siblings. None more throwaway children who no one wanted. So, have Naoki's mother look at him with love and keep him. Have Seiji's father not abandon him when his mom died in childbirth. Save the twins' parents from the criminal gang who killed them for their car.
At the control panels, their fingers having slowed in their work, the technicians took in the scene as well. damn, my wife grew up in gear too, you know? That's pretty fucking rough, buddy.
Give Dobby a blood family who'll love him regardless. Take away his scars, return Homer's kin, every single one of them, and reverse the pain you've caused him. Clear Hitoshi's mother of the crimes she had to commit to look after him. Bring his father back.
Beside him, he could feel that sympathetic care morph into a protective anger. All Might balling up his fists couldn't lead to anything good in this situation, could it?
Give Izuku a dad who'll treasure him. Give his mother a husband who loves her. Make the streets safer so I no longer have to teach people how to defend themselves.
Damn it.
Damn, bloody everything! Not that he didn't want to go down there himself, but they had a job to do. All of this anguish, their friend's discomfort, it was all supposed to mean something, wasn't it? This was the price that needed to be paid for the greater good, right?
Give every orphan who can't be reunited with their families a good, loving home. Stomp out child poverty, bullying. Change the criminal justice system so it treats people as people, not just for the hell of it. Ban restaurants from overcharging people and rid the world of hunger while you're at it.
Well, at least this wasn't incriminating. At least no one, not even a lawyer with malevolent intentions, would be able to claim that Shouta was serious. That he was offering any kind of allegiance which could be purchased by the smiling fiend he'd been forced to suffer under.
Do all of that, Shigaragi-san, and sure, I'll follow you. I'll be your number one believer, in fact.
Nice foot, kid, one of the Tenderfist staff members muttered. Little bastard hasn't got the better of you yet. He's one cool customer, Shigarami-san. He's got some guts, I'll give him that. He added before going back to rapidly inputting data, the threat of any legal action being needed now far behind them. Thank God.
See, for a bleeding-hearted little do-gooder, I can be pretty greedy and demanding too, can't I?